xMazWellx here with the next video in the tank guide series. This guide will be for Makoa if you couldn't already tell. Now before I get started, I do want to mention that I have timestamped the different parts of the video as you can see here in case you guys want to skip to certain parts of the guide. With everything else out of the way, let's go ahead and begin. The first thing we'll go over is the basics of Makoa. This will include going through all of Makoa's abilities, his ultimate, and his legendary cards. Makoa's primary fire is called Cannon. Makoa shoots a salvage ship cannon that fires one 650 damage cannonball shot every 1 second. This weapon is best at short range, so that means it does have fall off damage. Makoa's L2 ability is called Dredge Anchor. Makoa throws out his hook, which pulls in the first enemy it comes in contact with. This ability does have a limited range, so you have to keep that in the back of your mind while you're trying to hook enemies. Makoa's next ability is called Shell Spin. Makoa retreats into his shell and spins forward, knocking back enemies in his path. This ability is an effective way to retreat back to your healer while taking minimal damage. Makoa's last ability is called Shell Shield. Makoa projects a 6,000 health shield around himself and allies that blocks enemy fire for 4 seconds. Next, in Makoa's ultimate, Makoa gains 5,000 health and swings his anchor in front of him, dealing 650 damage per hit. Makoa's anchor attack is area damage, so he can hit multiple people with it at once. Now that we've gone through Makoa's abilities and ultimate, we can move on to his legendary cards. Makoa's first legendary card is called Half Shell. Makoa can now place his shell shield on the ground instead of channeling it through his body. This allows Makoa to shoot and use his other abilities while Shell Shield is up. Makoa's next legendary card is called Leviathan. Makoa gains 1500 base maximum health as well as CC immunity during his ultimate. Makoa's last legendary card is called Pluck. You gain 80% bonus damage on your first shot after hitting an enemy with Dredge Anchor. This results in your first shot after hitting a hook doing 1170 damage. Now that you know the basics of Makoa, we can go through my personal favorite loadout for him. The first card in my loadout is Strong Arm 4. This reduces the cooldown of Dredge Anchor by 2 seconds. This is very important because the hook is Makoa's most valuable ability. My next card is Barrier Reef 4. This reduces the cooldown of Shell Shield by 4 seconds for every 3000 damage it absorbs. For my third card I have Tidal Grace 2. This heals me for 100 health per second while I'm in Shell Shield. Next I have Surf 1. This increases the distance of shell spin by 10%. This just helps me retreat more easily. Last but not least, I have Salvage 1. This allows me to generate 1 ammo when I hit an enemy with Dredge Anchor. This is very good in clutch scenarios where I need to finish off a target but I have no ammo. Now that we've gone through everything else, we can move on to some of Makoa's advanced strategies. The first part of this section of the video will be things to know rather than actual strategies. The first thing you should know is that Makoa's hook does not go through shields. The next thing, and this is a very big struggle for Makoa, is that his hook is blocked by CC immunity. This makes Grok the biggest candidate for a counter to Makoa, as when he uses his Totemic Ward legendary, all allies within the range of his totem are granted CC immunity. This is important to keep in mind when trying to hook certain enemies, as some characters do have CC immunity built into their kit. The next thing you should know is that Makoa's hook is biased on which hand it comes out of. This means you can hook enemies around corners as long as your Dredge Anchor can see them even if you can't. But this also means in some cases even when you can see the enemy, your hook cannot and thus will not hook the enemy. Now that we've gone through the advanced things to know, we can move on to the strategies. The first strategy is hooking enemies off an edge. To do this you must place yourself on an edge of some sort and then spin around while hooking your enemy. The next strategy is to knock an enemy off an edge with your shell spin. To do this the enemy must already be near the edge, at which point you can either roll into them or by them with your shell spin, thus knocking them off. The next strategy is against Ashe. As she is not CC immune during her ult, you can hook her out of her damage immunity and then kill her. The last strategy I have is how to dodge a Drogo's ultimate. To do this you must use a wall jump, thus gaining extra jump height and then shell spin into the wall, allowing the Drogos to go underneath you. Okay guys, now that we've gone through my tips and tricks for Makoa, I'll go ahead and give you an example Makoa gameplay where I'll give you my reasoning for all of my actions. For my legendary card, I did go with Pluck, as it's the best card for Makoa right now. It just helps to secure the kill on anyone that you hook. As well as my team's lacking a little bit of damage, as the only damage dealer we really have is Eevee. So I do decide to go straight to point just to not let the enemy Barrack get a foothold on the point by setting up all of his turrets. Here I notice a Victor on the right side of the map, so I attempt to hook him, but I do miss, which results in my death. Here I notice the Victor again, so I do chase him, and I'm fortunately able to catch him by surprise, resulting in an easy kill. At this point I'm trying to go for Bomb King, as I want to get the squishies first and leave Barrack for last. Here I'm able to get an easy hook on an unsuspecting Androxus using the bonus damage from Pluck and then waiting for the reversal to go down so I can finish him off. Now that the majority of the squishies are down, I do decide to go for Barrack as he is low health. Here I use my Shell Shield to block the damage coming from the Maldamba, and then I use Shell Spin to retreat back to my healer. Here we're just cleaning up the rest of the kills as we've basically already won the team fight. I use my Shell Spin here to try to intercept the Victor and finish him off, but unfortunately he is too fast with his sprint ability and I'm not able to get him. After hooking Barrack, I made sure not to spin him around because I noticed that two of my teammates were in front of me, so I didn't want my body to block them from shooting the Barrack. Here I choose to 1v1 the Bomb King as I am full health and I should be able to finish him off by using the hook, but he is able to momentarily get away using his Poppy Bomb. Now that we've killed all of the enemy team in our backline, I use my Shell Spin to get up to the front line with my team faster. Here I'm able to get a hook on the Maldamba and I make sure to turn him so that he's in between myself and my team so that we can team shoot him. The Maldamba does retreat far enough to be out of the fight, so I choose to focus on more important targets. Here I use the extra health from my ultimate to take the damage of the Barrack ult and get him low in the process. At this point we're able to finish off all the low health targets and successfully push in the payload. Going into the second round, I just want to make sure I do the same thing as before, as it seemed to have worked perfectly. Once again, I go straight to point just to keep the Barrack from getting a foothold on the objective. Here I do miss the hook on the low health Barrack, which would have allowed us to finish him off and secure a pick. After missing the Barrack, I do decide to step on the objective to get some free capture points, but I do unfortunately die. On my way back, I do notice that the kills seem to be going in our favor, so I do decide just to go back to point. Here I wait for the CC immunity from the Androxus ult to go away, at which point I hook him after and am able to secure the kill. I notice that after being stunned by Maldamba, my Fernando is in a little bit of trouble, so I go up to shield him with my Shell Shield. I hear the Bomb King ultimate, so I make sure to stay away so that I don't get stunned. After the Bomb King's out of his ultimate, I go over and try to help my Ying stay alive. Here I use my Shell Spin to get out of the range of the Grumpy Bomb so I don't get stunned. I continue to fight on the point and I am able to pick off the Barrack and the Androxus. Here I go into the dark side room to try to avoid line of sight with the Victor ultimate as I'm not quite sure where he is. Once again I move up to try to help my Fernando stay alive. After taking significant damage, I use my Shell Shield to retreat back to my healer. Here I get a little bit greedy and I try to chase down the Androxus. I do decide to retreat though after seeing the Grumpy Bomb on the other side of the wall. I do unfortunately get stunned, resulting in my death via Bomb King and Barrack. On my way back, I noticed that my Fernando does go down, so I decide to wait and group up by my Maldamba. Maldamba does get a little too aggressive, so I put up my Shell Shield to block any incoming damage. Here I hook Barrack so that he can't shoot Maldamba, resulting in me easily killing him during his ultimate. At this point, the enemy team's Maldamba is also getting a little aggressive, so I attempt to fight him, but he does catch me off guard with some stuns. This isn't the best use of a Makoa ult, but I just really didn't want to die to a Maldamba. I use my shell spin to get to the front line and hopefully soak up some damage, so it's not a complete waste of my ultimate. I do get a hook on Barrack, but I do have to retreat because of the Bomb King Grumpy Bomb and his ultimate. I notice the enemy Victor here on the left, so I do hook him to prevent any damage he's putting out, but all I can really say is that Firefight Victor's OP. At this point, I'm trying to get back to the fight as quick as possible to soak up as much damage as I can to prevent my teammates from dying, but unfortunately my Maldamba does die to the Victor. With two of my teammates down, I'm trying to play it safe and not really push up too much. Fortunately, my Eevee is able to make some clutch plays, getting 2 kills, making it an even fight. At this point, almost the entire enemy team is low health, so all that's left to do is to clean up the kills. After killing Androxus, there's no one left to contest the payload, and we're able to successfully push it in for a victory. I want to thank Ralkion and MG Dabs for helping me get a decent game, as well as Young Pablo for helping me get some of the advanced strategy clips. For anyone that made it all the way through the video, I want to say thanks for watching. I'll be doing a Fernando guide next, so make sure to stay tuned for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's been xMazWellx here, and I hope to see you in the next video.